What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Tribe of Runners. I'm your host, Liz Myers, and today we have Randi Zuckerberg on the podcast, which when I was talking to her back at Desert Peak, we got talking and an amazing human. I got to know her a little bit more. And one thing I definitely want to dive into, but I heard you give an amazing speech, all of us did, down at Desert Peak. And I have so many questions, but for anyone that doesn't know Randi, she's an amazing human, business lady to the T, but has come into the ultra world and is just like dominating and showing every woman out there that they can do incredible things. So, Randi, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. And I feel like this is really full circle because as you and I discussed, you were my first ultra runner that I followed on Instagram. I just thought like what you were doing was so amazing, like running across Florida and like all the incredible. And I was like, that is someone who I like really look up to, who's doing just like really hard things, but like with such a joyful attitude. So it's really exciting to be here with you.
Yeah, and I will tell you, when you told me that, like my mouth dropped, and I was like trying to keep my mouth off the floor. I'm like, me, like me. And I made a podcast, and I said this, like, you really don't know who you're inspiring. You know what I mean? So, and I'm just my quirky, normal self, and here I am, like, inspiring some amazing people. So, full circle, it is awesome, and I'm super excited to talk all things. Obviously, top of mind, congratulations on Cocodona, and huge accomplishment. How are you feeling post Cocodona?
Oh my gosh. I would say like the week recovering from Cocodona is almost as hard as the race itself. Like I am every night I sit bolt upright in bed in the middle of the night, like thinking I have to get up and run again. And then I like remember I'm like, oh no, wait, the race is over. Like you're in your nice bed. You don't have to go run up Eldon right now. So I'm having like a little bit of like a trauma response. And my feet are pretty mangled, but I'm so happy with how the race went. Like I keep replaying it in my mind. I don't think I could have done like 1 ounce better than I did. I really like ran it to the best of my ability. So I'm super happy.
Yeah, it's so incredible too. So you had a 10-hour PR from the first year that you ever did it.
Yeah, and it's wild how much that changed the experience of the race.
Mhm.
So like last year I ran it in 113 hours, which put me kind of like squarely in the middle pack of the race. And so I got to like I made friends during the race last year. I was always with other people, like the pack of people that I ran through the first night with. We all finished the race within like 10 minutes of one
Wow.
another, like we were together the whole time. Like it really felt like I was in an event. This year, I kind of found myself in this like weird area where I was like not fast enough to be with the front pack, but I was too fast for the middle pack. And so
Mhm.
I was basically alone for 100 hours. And I would forget that I was in a race because like I
Oh.
had no other runners to feed off their energy. And so I would like find myself thinking things like, oh, like when you get to the race next time, do this. And then I'd be like, no, wait, no, no, you're in the race. It just feels like you're out running like a training run because there's no one else around. And it was kind of a weird experience, but it's cool how like your time difference just completely changes the nature of the race.
Yeah, it's like seeing the course from a completely different point of view. And not to mention, you didn't have the people surrounding you, which is a whole nother vibe out there when you're running.
Totally. And I saw every part of the race almost like in a flipped time of day from the year before. So I hit like almost everything that I'd hit in the day. Last time I hit in the night and vice versa. And like last year I hit the hangover trail at sunrise. This year I hit it at sunset into darkness. So
Mhm.
it was kind of cool to experience every section of the trail in like a totally different way.
Yeah, that's incredible. I didn't even think about that time-wise experiencing because in a sense, like you got to genuinely see the course at all different time of day in the aspect, and not only from visually, but also with the people being around, mentioning being away from people. Was that more of a struggle for you, not having like the people around?
Yeah, because I really feed off the energy of other people. Like I love whether it's like, getting a little like falsely competitive with them and being like, let's go like hunting this section. Or if it's just like, hey, we're both like alone in the night, let's like be alone together and buddy up. Like there's just a lot of things that I kind of look forward to about seeing other runners around. And there was one section that Joe Corcione was pacing me for, and we were cracking up because we would go for like hours seeing no other runners, but then we'd pull into the aid station and there would be like 45 people in the aid station. And we're like, how did all these people get here? Like we saw no, like we're like, there's only two possible conclusions. One, they all Ubered here.
Yeah.
And then number two is that the fire roads make everyone invisible. And so we just can't see each other. We're like, those are the only two like definite conclusions that we can come to. But it was pretty wild to just like, it felt like Joe and I were just like two friends on a 7-hour long run together because we literally saw nobody.
That is so crazy. And knowing like the year before, it was, I assume you were crowded by someone or a few people probably going back and forth and encountering so many people.
Yeah, I was like leapfrogging with probably a group of a dozen people for the entire race, like depending on who was having a good section or who took a little longer at aid. Um, there were like maybe a couple people around me I saw. Like I spent a lot of time with Andy Glaze out
Okay.
on the trail. He and I were like within minutes of each other almost the entire time. But that was it. Like there was no one else really that I like consistently saw.
Wow, that's so crazy. In such a different year, but like top 25 women as well. You placed top 25 women, which is incredible. What would you say was the biggest learning lesson with this year compared to last year? Obviously, it's a whole another year. Like you've gained a whole bunch of knowledge and training, but with the actual course, what would you say like was the biggest takeaway for you?
Totally. I think there were a few things. First, I went into this race with a real sleep strategy. Last year, I it was my first 200 miler ever, and so I didn't really know how to manage sleep deprivation, and I didn't really have a strategy around it. This year, like I had a real strategy going in, and I thought, okay, like I know I can push to like mile 96, which is Fain Ranch. Like I know I can get there before I sleep. I was like, and then I'm going to lie down. And if I don't immediately fall asleep, I'm going to push on. Like I'm not going to waste time. So I actually didn't end up sleeping until mile 125 at the halfway point because
Okay.
I tried twice before it and couldn't immediately fall asleep. And I was like, nope, we're not wasting time. Like we're just going on. So that was kind of a big breakthrough because by the time I slept, I was already at the halfway point of the race. And so I knew that even though the sleep deprivation was going to start kicking in and compounding very quickly from there, like I was already on the back half of the race and I could push through. So that I think enabled me to cut a lot of time off the course to have a better strategy. Um, but also I think like in my training even I focused a lot less on running in this training cycle and a lot more on strength training and like hiking with a weighted vest and things like that. And so I think I just went into this race a lot stronger
Mhm.
also, whereas last year I mostly just tried to stack on like running mileage.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And this race, obviously, if anyone doesn't know what Cocodona is, like go check it out. But it's completely different. It's not completely runnable. There's tons of hiking, tons
Yep.
of a variety of terrain that you go through with going a point to point for 250 miles. So knowing that the strength played such a huge part, I mean, I'm so glad to hear that as a coach myself and someone that is a runner too, that I do encourage strength training, but the sleep is what really gets me. So I want to kind of backtrack. We talk a
Yes.
lot about sleep and 200s, and everyone at first, I feel like always was like, you have to sleep at this point. Like it was I remember when I first did my 200 and I first was like looking into 200s, everyone's like, you have to sleep night one. And so like I laid there and tried to sleep for night one and it didn't happen. I'm like, this is like, I cannot sleep. I'm too wired. And I feel like now it's really changing where people are like, if you can sleep, do it. But if you're laying there for more than a couple minutes, like get up. You're not obviously tired enough. And obviously that worked really well for you.
Totally. And I think what people don't realize, people who it's hard to conceptualize 250 miles.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, well-meaning people, have been like, well, so what? That's like you walk 50 miles a day for 5 days. Like, I think I could do that. And I was like, okay, like that's a little bit of an ignorant thing to say. I was like, but what you're not understanding is that it compounds. So, like, day 1 and day 4 are not equal. Like, day 4 is 10 times as hard as day 1. So, for me, I was like, okay, I know that I'm going to hit the wall on Wednesday night. Like that happened to me last year. Like on Wednesday night, it's like it compounds. Things start deteriorating with the lack of sleep. So I was like, I need to get as much mileage in by Wednesday night as I possibly can, so that when like the wheels start to fall off the bus, like I'm almost there. And so like everything about our strategy was like, how can we get as much mileage? So like I tried to get to Whiskey Row, which is mile 76, as fast as I could. I got there in like 23 hours. And like even day 2, we made really great time. Day 3 starts to slow down. But then by the time the wheels came off the bus, I was at like mile 214. I only had like 40 more miles to go on like just an utterly exhausted body. So even though you can like literally like feel your body start to shut down with the sleep deprivation, I was like, okay, I know I could push myself for 40 more miles.
Yeah, it is so funny to hear people that aren't in this world talk about like what we do. It's so funny, but I love the point that you make about how the compound of this race, like any race does, but obviously when it's a multi-day, and knowing that like when you get to a certain point, you literally have to just keep telling yourself like I only have this much left. Like you mentioned 40 miles, but at 40 miles is a long time too.
It's
So like you
it's
say
a
like, oh,
long
I only had to do 40.
No, I mean, it's a long
Yeah.
time, and especially when I pulled into the part where it's 40 miles left, my feet were mangled. Like I have 3 broken toes and like so many blisters, and I had a bloody nose for 8 straight hours. Like I literally looked like I got beat up, and I felt like I got beat up, and I hadn't slept. So like things that would normally not phase me, like popping a blister, like I was crying like I was a 4-year-old. Like I couldn't handle like pain or discomfort. I like couldn't like regulate my emotions. And like it's interesting because these multi-day races, I feel like day 1 and 2 are a race of athleticism. And then
Mm.
after that, it becomes a race of how well you handle sleep deprivation and how well you
Oh,
suffer. And so that's why it's like a totally different race for the elites and for the rest of us, because the elites finish on Wednesday. So like they get to have a race of athleticism, whereas like the rest of us have a race of how well you handle not sleeping.
yes. And like you mentioned, regulating your emotions. Like I will never forget my 200 for that exact reason. Like the overload of emotions that you just don't know what to do with. And then
Yeah.
trying to remember, like, oh, I'm in a race. I need to continue pushing on was really, and I know majority of it is sleep deprivation, but also just being purely exhausted from the physical aspect of things too. Cause, like you mentioned, you're on day 3, 4, and the body is shutting down and it wants to rest, and yet you still have miles to complete.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember like regrouping with my team because um I had 2 sections left of the race. Like I had this 7-mile section that would get me to the base of Mount Eldon, and I could have a pacer for that section. So it was like short but like crucial.
Mhm.
And then I had the final boss, the 20-mile Mount Eldon climb that you have to do solo. And by the time I got to the point where I had those 2 sections left, I mean, like really it's just a marathon, right? You've done like 9 marathons, it's just a marathon. I I thought I was gonna die. I mean, like I was so tired. All I wanted to do was like lie down in the dirt and die. And I remember like asking if I could sleep before those 2 sections. And my crew that was with me, they were like, "You're not gonna like what we have to say, but like you have to get to the base of Mount Eldon before you sleep, because otherwise, like there's a chance that you go down that mountain in the dark. And we don't want that.
Mm.
Like that's not dangerous. That's not safe.
Mhm.
And like we can't let you descend Mount Eldon in the dark. So like you have to push through tonight to the base, and then we can let you sleep." And like that 7-mile section with my friend Bethany was like, I to be that sleep deprived and have to go for 2 hours, like, is like, I think that was harder than the 80 miles that I did on day 1.
Yeah. Yeah. Which yeah, I can only imagine. But you have an amazing crew and they did the 100% the right thing.
They
Looking back, you
totally
can see that. Yeah.
Yes, looking back, I'm like, honestly, like, thank goodness. First of all, that must have been so hard for them
Mm.
because, like, we're good friends, like, we love each other, and I was crying. I was begging them to let me sleep. Like, I was like, I have never been so exhausted in my whole life. Like, please let me sleep. And they had to be such good friends to me that they had to like look me dead in the eyes, even though I was begging them, and like force me out there because they knew that that was what I actually wanted to accomplish my goals. And like that, I mean, I think that's probably just as hard on them as it was on me.
Oh, yeah, and that's what's so hard about being a crew person for anyone. Because typically when you're crewing, you know the person, you have a relationship, and you have to be the mean person when you don't wanna be.
Yes. And, luckily we had that conversation like the night before the race. Is I was like, "Hey, it's like that scene in Harry Potter where Dumbledore is like, don't like nothing I say matters. Like you have to believe what I'm saying right now." I was like, "Do not listen to Randy on course who's tired and trying to bargain with you.
Yeah.
Like don't like she doesn't know what's in her best interest. Like listen to Randy now who like wants to get to that finish line early on Friday. Like
Yeah.
please listen to her."
Yeah, because you during a race is not the normal you. You cannot hold yourself accountable during that.
No, like I was calling my husband and being like, "Please call my friends and tell them to let me sleep." Like I was like going around my crew to try to like use other people to get to them, and they were like, "No, no, no, like we don't, we're not gonna fall for that."
That's actually kinda smart, but I'm really glad to hear that they didn't listen to you.
Yeah. Um, but it was absolutely the right strategy. I pushed through that like final 7-mile session. The team let me have like a really solid 2-hour sleep. And then I hit Eldon like right at sunrise,
Mm.
which was great because that day got so hot. If I had gone out any later, like it would have slowed me down by hours and I would have descended in the dark. But
Mm.
because I went out at sunrise, I got to the summit before it got hot. I got down and I finished at noon, which was like 10 hours before I finished last year.
Wow. That's so incredible. And again, huge, huge congratulations. Now the next question is, do you wanna do it again?
I think, in the future, I definitely do. I want to take a year. I think I need some time off from
Yeah.
Cocodona. It's like I feel like I mean it's such a special race. So I think anyone who's listening who hasn't done it, like my heart is like forever on those trails. But I feel so proud of the PR and the performance that I feel like, sometimes it's good to walk away from a party on a high
Mhm.
note and
Mhm.
like go explore some other places and like remember why you miss it and then come
Yeah.
back. So I think for me, like I am kind of intrigued right now with like a lot of the stuff you're doing. Like I'm really intrigued with like road ultras.
Mm.
Um, I love trails dearly, but I just don't have a lot of access to them. I live in New York City. I'm a road runner here.
Mhm.
I'm
You're
like
a
I'm like
marathoner.
a
You're
yes,
a
I'm like,
fast marathoner.
"Oh, thank you." I really love all distances and all running, and I love the trails, but, I sort of feel like I'm at a disadvantage, picking these trail races because I just don't get to practice on trails that much, so I just started thinking, "Okay, like, well, what if I apply my love of the distance with like road that I actually have access to. And so, I've been thinking a lot about like, races like the Keys 100 or other like or Badwater or things like that are like road ultra races. So that's sort of where my mind is leaning right now. But like, of course, part of me is hoping maybe I'll get to pace or crew someone out at Cocodona and still be part of that race because it's like just such an incredible culture and community.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you've ever been there, you understand. And then when you're not there, the most FOMO you've ever had. And like, I was at home this year sitting and I'm like dot watching, endlessly scrolling, updating. But again, it's just so special to see it from any point of view. You know what I mean? Whether you're being there, supporting from the outside or running it. So let's kind of dive into going into road real quick because now I have some questions. Road
Yeah.
ultras, like obviously I mentioned before, and if people don't know, like you started with marathons, have done a ton of marathons. Your fast is like a 3:27, I think, at Boston, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
in fact, I just ran that in the middle of my Cocodona training
Insane.
block, which is wild because I wasn't even doing any speed or like marathon specific training.
Yeah, that is incredible. So, A, another congratulations, but B, so um obviously there's tons of flatter like or ultras in the sense of running road, Keys being a huge one. I mean, out here in Florida we have like Miami,
Yeah.
Daytona, but there is across Florida as well. And then
Yes.
Badwater. So do you have like a goal with one of these, or like are you shooting for one specifically?
Yeah, so I actually just signed up for the Miami 100 in
Very cool.
September.
Very cool.
That one really spoke to me. My husband grew up outside of Miami, and I just love that it's like kind of like a bit of an adventure race.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like it has like the best of like road and like the adventure spirit of a Cocodona type race. So that one really spoke to me. So that'll be like my next big race, and I'm really excited to see like what I can do as a road runner, but like with the 100-mile distance.
Yeah, because I know you know this, but it is completely different, obviously.
It
And
is.
Florida is very hot. I hate to tell you that, and I know you know it. But it'll be an adventure for sure. And I've heard only great things about Miami. It has that weird twist where I can't remember exactly what it is, but like they give you directions, so it's not like you actually know the course. So it makes it a whole different type of 100. But I've always heard really, really good things about the 100.
Yeah, I'm just excited. I want I feel like I do this for the experiences, and the to share an adventure with a crew and with a team and people that I love. So like even though it's my race, like I feel like Cocodona was a team effort. And in fact, my crew chief, Mary Claire, she actually like she beat me to getting a tattoo of Cocodona this year. Like she like on the day we got home, she got a tattoo. And I was like, so cool that like my race meant so much to someone else that like she wants that as part of her body forever. And so those are the kind of races that speak to me, the kind of races that like, yes, I can take on a personal challenge, but also like it's going to be a rad adventure to share with friends.
Oh yeah. And ultra running is very much like that, but I love like we've kind of talked about it and you've touched, but like the crewing and pacers, like that's part of the community. Like you've mentioned the being out there and running with people, it's part of the community. And I've heard you talk about like getting into this with because of the community and the people around it. So obviously
Yeah.
the podcast is called The Tribe of Runners. I felt the same way. When I originally got into running, did it like a half marathon. And I was like, these people are great, but like, what is this ultra thing? Like, I see people eating snacks and doing these crazy things. So, I dove into ultra running and I was hooked. I felt like I was around like-minded people. I remember being in a race and a guy was like really, really hurting. And I was like, hey, do you need anything? And he was just like, oh my gosh, yeah, maybe. What do you have? And that was like my first really big connection with someone out in the course. And then someone did that to me, and I was like, like these are my people. And like, how has that transition for you been? Because I know like you were newer to running, you came back into running a few years ago, and then you've obviously dove into the ultras. But how has the community aspect been for you?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. For me, like, I've just always fed off the energy of I've always loved, like, working in startups with other people, and, I grew up as one of 4 kids, like, I've always been part of a big family and surrounded by people, so that's so important to me, and I didn't even know the word ultra marathon, like, until 3 years ago, like, I didn't even know that that was a word that existed. I literally thought running distances ended at the marathon,
Mhm, mhm.
and, it wasn't until I had a friend who just was like, "Hey, do you wanna run the entire perimeter of Manhattan, like, for fun?" And, I hadn't even run my first marathon yet, but I was like, "Well, like, I'm easily enabled, like, let's go for this," and that was about, like, 32 miles around, and I remember that at, like, around mile 25, like, I actually felt stronger. Like, I picked
Mhm.
up steam and I felt better, and my friend looked at me and was like, "Oh, holy wow, like, I think you're in the wrong distance. Like, I think, like, you might want to explore further distances than that," and I was like, "What do you mean?" And then, he said a few friends sent me a link to a 50-mile race, and so
Mm.
that ended up being, like, my first foray into ultra marathons, and I remember, like, during that ultra, like, in road races, no one talks to you. Like, in road
Yeah.
races, like, they have, like, a mean look on their face, and they put their headphones in, and it's like, "Grr," and, like, every man for themselves. And I remember in that first 50-mile race, like, I ate a quesadilla during the race, like, I made friends. Like, I left the race with, like, actual new friends that I talked to during the race, and, I was like, "No one told me that you can do this same sport, but, like, with friends and delicious food," and I was like, "It's the same sport, but totally different sport," and I think that really opened my eyes to, the fact that for me, like, I think I view it as, like, the difference between baking and cooking. Like,
Mhm.
marathon running is, like, precision, right? Like, you need precision training. You cannot deviate from, like, a workout or a pace or a mileage. Like, if you love baking, you love marathon training. But then there's, like, the art of cooking where you just, like, experiment and you try things, and sometimes it's great and sometimes it's terrible, and, like, that's ultra running. And, that's always that side of everything has just always, like, called to me a little more.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I love it. I may have to steal that from you, but it is so true, and it's really just brought me into the sport of the community, and then also, like you said, it's problem solving for me, like out there majority of time in ultras. And
Yeah.
I love that about it. You know what I mean? I like being able to know that if I need to stop, reset, and go back out, I can do it, whatever the case may be. But you did your first 50, and then I assume you got hooked and just dove in and did all the other things, right?
Totally. Okay, so I did my 50. I remember coming home from that, by the way, and being like, telling my husband, I was like, "I learned something today. I learned that Coca-Cola is a health food."
Yeah.
I was like my entire universe has changed. But so actually I went from that right to signing up for Cocodona, which is, like, crazy, but, Mary Claire, my friend, sent me the link to the live stream of Cocodona, and this was in 2024, and she was like, "This is riveting." She's like, "I am glued to this live stream, and you are the only person I know who's crazy enough who would sign up for this race. Like, we have to do this." And I remember, like, back in 2024, the race didn't sell out in, like, 8 seconds like it
Yeah.
does now. And so I had the registration link open on my computer for days, and, like, I kept going to click register and then chickening out and being like, "What am I doing?" And finally, I was like, I will regret this forever if I don't register for this race." And I just, like, clicked register, and I was like, "All right, Mary Claire, it's your fault that I know about this race. So you're gonna be my crew chief, and we're gonna figure this out." And that's how I made the leap from 50 directly to 250.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible. So you have the ability to blame someone for getting you into this crazy distance, which is awesome. And so special to find Cocodona because like we've mentioned, it is a very special race. It's just like a vibe. It's a
Yeah.
great, it's organized amazingly. You have the live tracker, you have the live video and commentator. So like it is top notch. It is so amazing. It really makes ultra running feel so inclusive. And I hope this spreads and goes to other places and other races. But you know, once you finally click the button and knew you were in and, you know, had to admit, "Oh, I'm going to do this," were you immediately panicked or were you determined?
Yeah, no, I panicked. Like, and it took me weeks to even like tell other people what I had done
Mhm.
because like again, like I'm a 44-year-old mom of 3. Like I live like a pretty normal life that you would expect of a 44-year-old mom of 3. Like I wear like athleisure down the street with my
Yeah.
coffee and like go to like boutique fitness classes like with my kids. Like I am not the kind of person that's like I'm gonna run 200 miles. I was like, oh my gosh, like I must have like deep mental health issues. Like people are gonna stage an intervention if I tell them. So I tried to like act normal for a few weeks and not like let the crazy out. And then I finally like sat my husband down and sat some of my friends down. And I was like, okay, like I did a thing. I signed up for this race. And what was so wild to me is that like the first like 3 or 4 people I told, not only were they so supportive, but they were like, "Can we be on your crew?" And I was like, "Wait, so like you guys actually believe that I can do this? Like you don't think that I'm crazy?" And then it kind of made me feel like, "Okay, well, like if these other people believe in me, then like maybe I can believe in myself." And so I think, you know, it's so at the end of the day, like you have to find it from within, but it's so important to have that community and that support around you of people that are like, yeah, I see you. And like, I want to dedicate a week of my life because like I believe that you're going to get to that finish line is like, it's very powerful.
Oh yeah, and that's so amazing that you had family and friends so close. Like, I'm assuming not in the sport of ultra running to
No, not
yeah.
like yeah, I mean, so year 1, the team I went out with and actually, like, that ended up being my team for year 2
Oh,
also,
so
but year 1, like, not only had none of us done an ultra before, like, none of us had ever run on a trail before. Like,
oh,
I first put on a hydration vest 6 weeks before Cocodona. Like, I didn't even have a watch that had longer than an 8-hour battery life until,
oh,
like, the month before the race. Like, I've never navigated a course before. I'd never used hiking poles. Like, and so I feel like my team and I, we were learning all of these things together. Like, we met at Orange Theory Fitness, like some of me and my friends who came out with me, and then my PT, Joe, like joined the group too, and that was our crew. Um, but we figured it out. Like we figured it out. We got really creative. Like I think it shows that like if you have that dog in you, you can like figure out the skills and humans are so resilient that you can like figure out how to get there. What doesn't work is like if you don't have that dog in you.
oh yeah, and we mentioned this is 250 miles. Like, there needs to be a lot of something in you to wanna continue to
A
push
lot
through.
of dog, a
Yeah.
lot of dog.
Yeah, yeah, and having the support is amazing. You know, I'm have very supportive people in my life as well, not to mention the community I've created and have now as well. But, you know, I couldn't imagine not having them, and I do have to say, like, I when I did tell people about running 200 miles, they were like, "You're insane." I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine." Like, I'm fine with that. But, you know, no one was ever like, "You're not gonna do it." It's more like, "How are you gonna do it?" And I was like, "I'll figure it out." Like you mentioned, like, I might not know everything, but I will learn, adjust, and then we can go after it again if we want to, which is really cool.
Totally. It's
But
funny you, sorry, I'm so sorry to
no,
interrupt
you're
you.
good, go.
It just brought up like, as you were saying that, like sometimes people say you're crazy. I feel like any conversation that I'm in where running 250 miles comes up, like it either goes in one or of two ways. Like one is like that I'm trying to hide the crazy. Like I'm trying to blend into a conversation of people that are like training for a half marathon or like recreational runners, and I'm trying to like hide the crazy and like act normal. Or I'm like getting mansplained to about running by like a dude, and I'm just like waiting for the right moment to drop the crazy on him. And like, so I'm just like waiting and waiting. And he's like going on about like, you might not know about this like thing called electrolytes and blah, blah. And then like, I'll just let him go and go. And then I'll just be like, yeah, I just like finished my second Cocodona 250. I think I know a little bit about
Yeah.
electrolytes, but like, thanks for the chat.
Oh, that's so funny. So I have to say I have very similar incidents and experiences, but I do a lot, and this is just me. I don't like to talk about myself. Funny enough, I have a podcast, but when people are like, "Hey, like I'm a runner," I'm like, "Cool, yeah, I run too," and they're like, "Oh yeah, like I'm really big into marathons and stuff," and then like I just let them go, like you said, let them talk, and they're like, "What do you run?" I'm like, "Well, I dabble in ultra running," and they're like, "Oh, like a 50 miler?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But it's so funny. And then, or I get people that, are telling me all the things that I'm like, oh, I didn't know that, but I know that, so it's always
There's
this weird thing.
Yes, I know. I feel like you either, you kind of like skirt that line a little bit. But, definitely when I first told my family at like our first, like my whole extended family gets together every holiday season. And I like at first they were like, is this a cry for help? Like, do you need money? Like, why are you doing this? And now, 3 years later, I feel like now like my parents were at the finish line of Cocodona. My whole family is like really invested in the sport and running and doing things. So it's been cool to bring everyone along.
Oh, that's awesome. I love to hear that. And I think this is a good leeway because I did want to bring this up. You talked about this in the speech at Desert Peak, but like how you got into running, like you mentioned you got into it later in life. It was in your 40s, and you give an amazing speech, and I'm not going to sit here and try to butcher it, but you talk about like your character. So I would love to kind of dive into that. I think it's an amazing story, and I'll just let you kind of gear the direction for it, and then I'll ask you some questions on it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think I'm so proud of a lot of the things that I've done in my life. Like I helped my brother build Facebook and like helped that company from being like a couple of people to a publicly traded company was part of that journey. I've helped dozens of entrepreneurs since then, like build and launch businesses. I've sat on a ton of boards and helped organizations run. So I guess like my whole life, like I've been a crew. I've been a crew member,
Mhm.
and which is like is awesome. I mean, that's such an important job to play. Like brilliant entrepreneurs need a great crew. Like brilliant athletes need a great crew. Um, but I got to 40 years old, and I remember on my 40th birthday thinking, well, gosh, like if someone wrote the story of my life, like I wouldn't even be the main character in the
Mm.
story of my life. The main character, like I don't even know if I'd have a name in the story of my life. It would be about all the other people that I supported, and I'd be like some side character with no name and no screen time. And that just like felt terrible. I was like, how have I gotten to 40 years old and like centered other people so much that like I lost the plot line of my
Mm.
own life? And I didn't even know what to do with that information. I didn't like immediately like the light bulb didn't immediately go off and be like, I should take up running. Like I didn't I just like sat with that discomfort for like probably almost a year. And then little by little, when I got into running recreationally and I signed up for a half marathon in Central Park, and I guess all the other good runners were somewhere else that day or like just didn't go to that race because I broke the tape in the race.
Oh.
And it was like my second or third ever half marathon, and I broke the tape. And I had this moment as I like rounded the finish shoot and I saw the tape up and I knew that I was going to break it. And it was like my whole life flashed before my eyes. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the main character right now.
Mm,
Like, no one can ever say that I broke this tape because I'm someone's sister or someone's wife or like someone's daughter. Like this is all mine. And I
mm.
was like, this is the first thing in my entire life that's all mine. And I was like, I think that's the moment that I fell in love with running because it brought the main character energy back into my life. And I every person deserves to feel that. I think, we need a healthy dose of supporting character energy and main character energy. Like you need to be a great member of your community, but like everyone deserves to have something that's all theirs.
Yeah, and I have to say this. I don't think all like the good runners were not there. I think you are a fantastic runner and you broke the tape and you deserve it. So don't discredit yourself.
Thank you.
But an amazing an odd way to have an experience like that where, maybe it was a couple months, maybe it was a year earlier, you were kind of like, huh, I'm maybe, like this isn't where I want to be, but you, whether or not you realize it or not, probably took steps to try to figure out how you could become the main character and be
Yes.
front and center. And it just happened to be that it was running because, it could be in any other thing in life, but you found it through running. And now, would you say like throughout the past few years of this, like you are front and center at and a main character in your story now?
Yes. Like Cocodona, that first Cocodona finish, like changed me as a
Mm,
person because once you've gone 250 miles, you carry yourself differently in the world. Like I walk into rooms differently. I Things roll off of me that used to bother me now. Like I walk into through the world with the power of like someone who did something really hard and like now has those data points that I can do that. And so I remember crossing that first Cocodona finish line and just being like, no one can ever discredit me again. Like I'm the main character in my own story now and like this is all mine and like I will never settle for like only being a supporting character in my own life again. And it was cool because then I was able to come back to this Cocodona with a totally different mindset. Like last year I had like something to prove.
mm,
I was like kind of a little bit doing it maybe for other people. Like I was
mm,
like, I want to prove that like I can do this and all you doubters. But this year I was like, all right, well, I already proved that. So like now this year can be all for me and I can approach this as an athlete. Like I can
mm.
really come into this race with a totally different mindset and with the data knowing that like I've done it and I can do it again. And I think every time we stack that data, all those points in our life, like it just empowers us to take on harder things and bigger challenges and walk through the world taking up more space.
Mhm.
And I desperately want that for other women.
Yeah. No, I love it. And I love that we kind of got on this topic too. Even though I was like, I need to talk to her about the character thing. Cause it truly, when I heard it, I was like, damn, like I feel that in so many ways. And, I could never really pinpoint why and how I got into ultra running. Like I love the community. I love doing something really hard. That's like, I want to do something really hard, come out, learn, become a better person, continue, and that's like how ultra running has been. And but when you brought up the character, like I really thought about it. I was like, it is so true though, because what you have to go through, yes, you may have a crew out there that's supporting you and coming to your aid at all times of day, and you have pacers that are helping you, but you're in your own head at all times. It's
Yeah.
you and this voice that's talking to you and you're trying to get through and push through. But the crazy part is there are moments where things go really south and then moments where things go great and you have like the highest high and the lowest low, and we can't pinpoint when that's going to be. But if you're a
Mhm.
driven, determined, hardworking person, you're going to get through it and continue pushing through. And it,
Yeah.
it just really makes you view yourself way differently than you ever have. Like you mentioned, becoming a different person after Cocodona.
Yeah, and I even had a moment today walking down the street that I was like excited to share with you because I was like, okay, from the outside, like I probably seem ridiculous. Like I'm like a 40-year-old woman with glitter in my hair, like a little bit of glitter sewn into my hair. I just came back from running 250 miles, which is like absurd. I was like, I'm like ridiculous. But like, I was like, sorry, I'm like a little, I was like, I've never been so happy. I've never like felt more at peace in my whole life than like I like finally feel like I came home to myself, and
Mhm.
I'm sorry to like get a little
No, you are
emotional.
100% okay.
Um, but like I think I just spent so many like I wasted so many years caring what other people thought or like doing things for other people and like people who were never going to be pleased with me anyway.
Mhm.
And like I finally just like woke up and showed up for myself, and I wish it didn't take me that long, but here we are.
Yeah, and now you can only continue to make yourself like, continue to make yourself happier and do the things that you want to do, which is awesome. And you mentioned the glitter in the hair. I love the glitter. I obviously do not rock glitter, but you also wear like bright colors and tutus and all the stuff. So you mentioned it like that's you, and you obviously like you shine that throughout. But like, what really made you just go, yeah, I'm going to be myself. And if I'm having glitter in my hair, that's what it is. Do you think it had to do with running or just this weird epiphany or what was that?
Yeah, I think a little of everything. I worked in tech in Silicon Valley for most of my career where I was like usually the only woman in the room.
Hmm.
And so for most of my career I tried to blend in. Like I tried to like be invisible and not stand out from the men or not, not draw too much attention. And I think finally I just kind of had this like screw it moment where I was like, I want to show that you can be like unapologetically feminine and
Yes.
like ridiculous and still be extremely badass. Like those two
Oh,
things do not have to be separate. Like I can have glitter hair and like finish Cocodona in a tutu. Like
yeah.
those things can happen. And like I have a 6-year-old daughter now. Like I want her to see that. I want my sons to see that. Like my the way my 15-year-old son showed up for me on the court like this year, he um he called me the first night that I was running alone through the night and he was like, "Mom, I'm doing my homework. Can I just like sit on the phone with you because I don't really like the idea of you being like in the woods alone at night running."
Mhm.
He's like, "So we don't have to talk, but like I'm just going to be doing my homework and I just want to like stay with you until you meet up with other runners." And like and then like he called me again on Wednesday and he's like, "Mom, Rachel's doing it. She's gonna like she's running up Mount Eldon. Like, mom, she's gonna do it." And like to see a 15-year-old boy be like so excited about like women dominating a
Mhm.
sport and being that badass, I was like, okay, like I think I've like done something right in my life and like I can like be as unapologetically myself as I can and it's good for kids to see.
1,000,000%, 1,000,000%. And I think it just goes to show you as a human have done such an amazing job with your son, knowing he's cheering on Rachel and you and just being there and, being such a supportive person in that aspect. It's truly amazing. And I know this may be hard for you to believe, but you have truly inspired me. I've been following you along and paying attention for since you've started really. And, I think one thing that always stood out for me personally is like seeing you be bright and vibrant. I grew up kind of blending in as well, not really being myself. And it took me to a move and just like literally coming out and being who I am. And it took a lot. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Everyone makes it seem easier, but like I look up to people and other humans that I see doing it, especially females. And for you, like I could always see that in you, like with even the craziness, the crazy color hair or the crazy color skirts with the glitter in the hair, like all of that just really shines to like who you are. You're super energetic. You're super nice. Like you took the time out to come talk to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's Randi. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's Liz. And I'm like, wait, what? So, it's just so inspiring to see other women do that. And you aren't only doing it for yourself, like you're doing it for so many other people too, which is amazing.
Thank you. Well, right back at you. I love just seeing you be like your unapologetic self. And, you know, I think what's so cool when I meet like women who inspire me and runners who inspire me is like the joy in pursuing excellence. Like I think a lot of times like women were taught to like be small and like let
Mm.
other, it's not cool to like say that you want excellence or that you want to win. But like I love it when people are like unapologetic and being like, I want to be a great community member and a joyful person, like, and I want to win.
Yeah.
And like I think more people need to say that. More people need to admit that it's like it's fun and rewarding to like go for excellence.
Yeah, and it can be competitive. Yes, it cannot be as well and just go out and to be a better, have a better race than you did last year, or do so many things. And it doesn't always have to be competitive, mind you.
Yeah.
We are competitive people. It's completely normal to be competitive against other people, but it's just truly amazing to watch the females in this industry and in life in general, but like go after the hard things. I feel like after so many years of maybe not doing that. So it's amazing, and I think you have done a great job at encouraging women all throughout the world to continue doing so.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's such a pleasure, and I hope we have many many years of being part of this community.
For sure, for sure. Before I go, one thing that we kind of touched on, but I just genuinely want to say, like, it's been so amazing to meet you. I appreciate you taking the time to be on the podcast. And obviously, you just finished Cocodona. You mentioned you have another 100 later this year.
Yeah.
Do you have another big 200 plan that you have in the mind, or are you not too sure yet?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. So I'm gonna be pacing our mutual friend and Joe Corcione at Badwater. So
Awesome.
I'm really excited about that because I feel like that'll give me a taste to see if that's a race that I want to enter
Ooh.
myself.
Okay.
So I'll be pacing Badwater. I'll be racing the Miami 100 myself in September. And then I think from there I'll make a plan for next year. Maybe next year will be Badwater for me. I have my eyes on the Keys 100 that we were talking about. So I feel like next year is going to be like road racing,
Okay.
road ultra year, and then maybe back to like the trail 200s again after that. But yeah, I'm excited for a little bit of like a different challenge, and you've really inspired me to take on some of these races. So maybe I can recruit you to maybe we can crew or pace one another in some of these.
For sure, yeah. Let me know. I've been to the Keys. I've never done the Miami 100, but I've been out to the Keys. I've crewed it 2 years. It's a hot race, but it's a fun one. If you're doing a race in Florida, you just have to expect it to be hot. Like there's no other
Yeah,
way around that.
you know what? I feel like I can't necessarily outrun people, but I can outsuffer them. So
A
I
hundred
feel like
percent.
that's like a skill set that I have. So I feel like, let's just like dive right into like the pot of suffering.
Yeah, yeah. All you have to do is consistently suffer, and you'll be fine. As long as you can do that.
Absolutely. Bring it on.
Yeah, super, super cool. Well, I'm very excited to follow along. You'll love Badwater. It is a whole different type of vibe, but in a good way. And it is just a amazing race to be a part of. So I'm very, very happy to hear that you're going to be out there with Joe. And I know you're going to kick his butt and get him going, which is what he needs out there.
That's right. I have all the like the motivation going and everything.
Yes,
So
yes,
it's
awesome.
gonna
Well,
be.
thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Liz, for having me. It's been such a delight.